So there have been a couple of times on this channel where I talk about my love for DVD special features back in like the very late 90s, like 1999, early 2000s. I think we were so spoilt for choice when it came to special features. Now, and since like Blu-ray came on the scene, special features are next to nothing, from what I've seen anyway. And that probably isn't thanks, well, no real thanks to streaming as well. But like going back to like the original DVD release of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, Charlie's Angels, The Matrix, most notably The Matrix Reloaded, Terminator 2, hell, even Batman Begins. There were so many great featurettes, commentaries, but also deleted scenes. That's another thing I've always been fascinated by with filmmaking. Deleted scenes. It's a whole nother beast in itself. Most times out of 10, it's a deleted scene for a reason. It just doesn't work. It doesn't help with the flow. It doesn't help with the narrative of the film. But there are some instances where there are some deleted scenes from certain films where you think, why the fuck did you take that out? You should have left that in. And today we're going to be talking about some of the, well, a lot of the deleted scenes for the original Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. This is a video I've been wanting to do for quite some time because since a lot of these deleted and alternate takes got released in the 2007 Infinifilm DVD edition, which, hang on, do I have it? I do, yes. So this is our version of the Infinifilm DVD that came out in 2007 that had a shitload more of deleted scenes, alternate takes, things we'd never seen before but only heard about. So the plan is with this video, I've got all of these deleted scenes, alternate takes queued up from certain points of the film. They're all in chronological order, so it helps with the flow of the film. I'm going to go through them. I'm going to stop at some points and just give a bit of shitty commentary. But just to see if each scene would have worked, or there was definitely a reason why Wes, the rest of the crew, took those scenes out. There are a few that are just like B-roll alternate pieces here and there, but you know, it could have helped with the flow, but we're going to check that out. And it's funny because this is the first cab off the Elm Street rank. You think there wouldn't be as many deleted scenes that they didn't really cover, but they're seemingly, from what I can tell, this film has the most deleted and alternate scenes that are still available from the entire Elm Street franchise. I think apart from that, it's also Freddy vs. Jason. The remake, not so much. Like, it has a couple of deleted scenes and alternate takes and takes we didn't really see. But out of all of them, it seems like the first Elm Street has the most. So sit back, relax, tip your fedoras as we check out some deleted scenes from the first A Nightmare on Elm Street. Now, a few of these I've had to mute for obvious reasons because it has Charles Bernstein's theme over it. There are a couple that are mixed with Charles's theme with audio and dialogue, so I don't know if the algorithm's still going to pick it up, but you know, I would like to earn my 2 cents from this video. And again, there are going to be certain points where I'm going to be stopping and pausing during certain clips, so you know, be prepared for that. I know that can shit people a bit, but I, you know, do have a bit of commentary here and there with certain sequences. So let's get all these queued up. So these are some alternate takes that were made during the build sequence of Freddy's glove. So this sequence was actually shot towards the end of principal photography, and this once again is not Robert Englund. This is Charlie Blodnelli, who had a hand in building the glove, but for the most part was a carpenter on the set. So let's check this out. You know what? I did not mute that one, so what I'm going to do is turn that right the fuck down. So dumping the bag instead of on the ground, he's dumping it on his manky soiled bed. And again, this is just an alternate take of dumping the parts out on the bench. It's a lot slower, whereas I feel like the energy of the original build sequence that we see in the film just seemingly works. Like, he's just shifting through a lot more stuff. I believe that backplate there was an original backplate. If you look at the original blueprints drawn up by Jim Doyle, the mechanical effects engineer of the film, this backplate looks very similar to the one from the blueprint. So I think this is a spare one they had lying around that was initially a test piece. I think for the most part, a lot of these pieces are just test pieces that they just dumped in a bag. Again, they just needed something. Now, this here is the original finger piece that is still around. I actually covered it a couple of videos ago in the part 2 Elm Street props video. So again, it's just alternate takes of, you know, them pretending to rivet the finger piece together. And then Charlie putting the glove on. This is an alternate take on the other side of the glove. And it is a sick looking angle. I do like that. I really do like the original one where it's kind of the bird's eye view of the glove kind of splaying and clacking, and then, you know, you get the title card. And then he kind of takes it out of frame. I like that. He still kind of splays the fingers out a bit. Now, these are just alternate B-roll takes. This isn't a deleted scene. This is the glove sparking in Tina's dream, but also the glove sparking in the boiler room. So this is Wes's commentary, and they hook the glove up to a car battery, and you can see tape on the base of the leather. Let me turn that down so I don't get copyrighted. But yeah, it's just cool little bits and pieces that they filmed in the Lincoln Heights jail. I think this is the shot where you can see the tape. There you go. See right there? That's like electrical gaffer tape, and I think that's the cord for the battery going into the leather that possibly hooks onto the back plate. I've tried this before when I was a kid, and I actually ended up sparking myself and giving myself a little shock. So considering that your skin is somewhat exposed with the cuts in the leather, I don't know how the fuck they got around that. There you go, some more alternate shots. Again, like, this is just probably stuff they had to film, so they had handy when Nancy's in the boiler room, Tina's in the boiler room, and it still looks eerie as fuck. I love the warm tones of these shots. Just, you can feel the heat, you can see the water on the pipes. So yeah, I think it works fine. Like, it's a fun little thing. Did it need to be in the film? Nah, it's fine. Now, this is just a fun little blooper, and it's Robert absolutely eating shit when he's on the rose trellis. Whoop, whoop. Boom. Poor bastard. Okay, so here's we're going to get into deleted scenes, alternate takes that, you know, could have helped with the story. So, Freddy alleyway. Let's check this out. Let's go full screen. So, this is when Tina picks up some worms and then the trash can comes rolling out. So again, linger on the worms. They're real worms. Okay, so there's that. And then this is the alternate shot of her rising up into frame. Here, Wes. Robert?
Oh shit, please God.
This. You hear the dogs barking. So, oh, hang on. So this is a closer shot. And that is the stunt glove. See, I don't think that works. That? So I think what we got in the final cut of the film definitely works. It's quick, it's energetic. I don't think I needed to hear Freddy say, you know, Tina, don't think you can get past these, don't think you can get past Freddy. I just think it definitely works. And the less he says, the more scarier. Like, the next time he says something, it's Tina, watch this, when he cuts his fingers off. And like with Robert doing that, I think that's just kind of like the master wide. And then he'd start to do that, and then they'd quickly cut to, you know, Amanda Wiss's reaction, and then the beautiful wide of Freddy's arms extended out in the alleyway. Now, there's an alternate piece of dialogue finishing up after Freddy cuts his fingers off. And it's kind of interesting, but I'll let you guys see it now. So yeah, all better for me, but not for you. I'm happy without it in the film. He could have said it when he's chasing after Tina, but he's just like lingering too long. He's just standing there, where again, I know I'm saying the word energy a lot. There's just that nice flow, that nice energy, where as soon as he cuts his fingers off, the chase commences. Like, he's straight after Tina as she's running to the back porch. Now, here's a Polaroid of a old lady that was supposed to be hanging out in a window looking at Tina running from Freddy. And it was originally in the script, so I actually have the original description right here. Wider angle in the alley, a terrifying all-out foot race between the girl and her pursuer. The man is fast. The distance between them closes with each heartbeat. Tina overturns ash cans, claws her way through the rotten back fence, hammers against a window. Ashen faces appear, recoil, pull curtains closed, and disappear in fright. So this lady here was actually cast as the lady that closes her curtains when Tina is running from Freddy. So cool little continuity Polaroid. It would have been interesting to see. This lady has a bit of a haunting face. I don't know. I feel like it could have worked. Next up, these are some alternate shots of the bed fight when Freddy slashes the pillow on top of Nancy and scatters the feathers everywhere. Now, Robert is indeed wearing the hero glove this time, as opposed to the stunt glove in the rest of the sequence that we see in the final cut of the film. Now, I did have to mute this as well. And look at him. He's like, his teeth are clenched. That's a great shot of the hero glove. Feathers flying everywhere. Now, it's coming up in a tick. Watch this. More feathers, more... Where's the other close-up shot of the glove? There you go. Now, watch this. See that? I want to know what he's reacting to. Like, is that Robert really reacting like he's accidentally hurt Heather? Like, watch it again. It's very un-Freddy-like because the point is he's trying to kill Nancy. So I don't know if he accidentally did something to Heather and he's like, oh shit, sorry. But then next up, this is just a raw take. I'm pretty sure that's a shot they used in the film. Come to Freddy. Robert's having too much fun with that. Okay. So, again, that was just a fun little thing. It's just more the extended kind of raw master shot of that particular one. I'm pretty sure they did use the beginning of that shot in the final cut of the film. This here, and a lot of you have probably seen this, is the footage they shot of Robert in the room with Tina. So you see Tina's point of view and what she's witnessing, whereas Rod can't see Freddy, whereas Tina can see Freddy. And Robert often talks about this a lot. It was just too scary with the final cut, well, the initial cut that they did with test screenings of Freddy in the room with Tina. Blood on the claws. Bye-bye. With the lighting and everything, I think that's a great looking shot. The way it's reflecting on Robert's makeup, the glistening sores, the teeth clenched. I think glimpses, skerricks of that would have been great. And the next sequence, which is Tina being dragged up the wall, seeing Freddy, I think is fucking eerie, man. See, that is fucking freaky. So I know I'm pausing a lot, guys, and I do apologize, but just to go back, and you can see the overexposed part where the camera's finishing and the film is, and it overexposes. You can see a good glimpse of Robert. That is fucking scary, man. But then going back to the original lighting, again, the way the lighting hits the makeup, seeing glimpses, skerricks like we're seeing now, I think it works perfectly, and it could have added a bit more of a horrific feel to that scene, you know, even though that scene is fucking brutal as it is. Amanda Wyss does an incredible job with this scene, by the way. See that? That's great. I think those shots there are great. I definitely think they add a bit more of that horrific factor, and just quickly seeing what Tina's seeing, and that's essentially the last thing she sees is this disfigured man mutilating her essentially. And also the wider shot where Freddy's on the ceiling, I do kind of like that, you know, when she's about to succumb to her wounds. That's when you could quickly cut to Freddy saying bye-bye. So this is a deleted scene from the cemetery after Rod's funeral. So we've got Marge and Donald together, and there's just a bit more exposition where they may know what's going on or who's doing the damage.
How's Nancy doing?
I don't think she's slept since Tina died. She's always been a delicate kid.
She's tougher than you think. Look, any idea how she knew Rod was going to kill himself?
No. All I know is that this reminds me too much of 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, let's not start digging up bodies just because we're in a cemetery.
I think the reason why they've deleted that, it kind of just starts to give too much away. That Wes probably still wanted Marge and Donald to be really aloof and not know exactly what's going on, or being in complete and utter denial. But it's interesting how all those events with Freddy being killed by the parents took place 10 years prior. So does that mean it took place in 1974, or because of A Nightmare on Elm Street 2 taking place 5 years after the events, the first Elm Street, are we supposed to believe that the first Elm Street takes place in 1980, and then obviously Freddy supposedly was killed in 1970. So I understand why, but that just little sprinkle there, it kind of, you know, if you're watching this film for the first time, you'd be like, ooh, what do you mean? Now this right here is just a little snippet that was deleted of Marge downstairs with the hat before Nancy comes down.
Oh, Donald, she said she grabbed it off his head in her dream.
No, I'm not crazy.
I'm holding the damn thing right here in my hand. I don't know where she really found it. I know. We were all there. I gotta go.
I know. We were all there. So at the beginning, you can hear her say Donald. She's on the phone to Donald, whereas in the film, we don't know who she's on the phone to. I can see why that was deleted. It's super unnecessary, and it kind of plays Donald like he's an idiot. I'm not going to say his character's an idiot, but is he the father that's in denial? So yeah, I understand why that was deleted. Now, this is just an alternate take where they did indeed do a blue screen of Nancy falling from the sky before she falls back into her front yard. And, you know, it's just a blue screen shot. I don't think it was needed. I love the cut from Nancy falling in the boiler room to then falling in the front yard. I think it works perfectly. Quick, done. Just it flows nicely. Whereas this, could come off as too hokey, falling through the sky, and they've got like smoke to emulate clouds. I just don't think it was needed. Now, this is a very famous / infamous deleted scene, or deleted bit of dialogue from Marge when she's telling Nancy about who Fred Krueger was, and she has the glove. They're down in the basement.
Because he took it into his own hands to kill our children. Glenn. Rod. Tina. They all had a brother or sister once. You too, Nancy. You weren't always an only child.
So Marge reveals that Nancy wasn't always an only child and then one of her siblings had been killed by Freddy. Rod, Glenn, Tina, they had siblings as well. I think that's just a bit too much. It's a bit too much of a heavy thing, because I think then Heather Langenkamp, Ronnie Blakely then have to change their acting, and I think it would have a snowball effect on the rest of the film, where it is quite brutal and confronting. I think it was super unnecessary if that had been left in the film. It just adds a bit too much, and it's just a bit too over the top. Okay, so this footage is super crunchy, but it's an alternate take of Johnny Depp, aka Glenn's death, and him rising back up out of the bed after the blood geyser. Look at that film flicker. Wait for it. So they've got him on a platform and they just rise him up out of the bed after all the damage, the blood, the guts and everything's come out. And boop, down on the bed. Now, is there a wider shot in this? Yes. Let me just skip to that. There we go. So now they got like the master wide. Now, if this was done afterwards, why aren't the walls covered in blood? Or this could have been done before. It could have been done before. Yeah, before they did the actual geyser. Comes up. And down. So to me, that is not scary at all. What's more scary is how is he crushed so quickly and just pulverized into soup? But also continuity-wise, that does not make sense because why is he still somewhat intact? It just comes off as schlocky and cheesy. And yeah, I'm glad that wasn't in the film. I just love seeing the mum's reaction to when she comes in and sees just what is left of her baby boy being a fucking Campbell's tomato soup. Now, this scene takes place after Glenn is killed. The coroner is there. Donald comes over and Glenn's dad is there. And Glenn's dad is pretty convinced that it is Freddy. And this is where things kind of start to come together with trying to figure out who exactly this is and if Nancy is indeed crazy or not.
Background and action.
I can't believe something like this is happening. Well, what can you... Lieutenant, it's your daughter. She says it's her own. Tell her I'm not here. Tell her she just saw you, sir.
She just saw you, sir. So sorry, that was a deleted sequence there before we get to the bottom of the staircase. I prefer the sequence in the film where Donald and Glenn's dad are at the doorway and he sees the blood dripping from the ceiling and his dad is just like, oh my God. I love that. He's just like, he's going to go throw up. He's like, he's just not coping. That idea of the cop with the bucket, putting it under the ceiling, that's more horrific. This is just a bit more... It doesn't have that impact where, you know, your son's just been absolutely mutilated. I just feel like the bucket, it was just a nice touch. Okay.
Walter, I know it's difficult to think at a time like this, but can you?
Can you think of anybody who could have done this?
Peter. Who did it? Kruger. Kruger? Had to be him. There was nobody else in the room. What do you mean there's nobody else in the room? How do you know there was nobody else in the room? I mean, I thought Glenn was sneaking over to see your lunatic daughter. I locked him in his room. The door was still locked when we heard the screams. That's what I mean. God's punishing us all. Walter, keep your head. This is a fucking flesh and blood killer we're talking about. Like Rod Lane?
Lieutenant Thompson, the coroner wants to show you something.
So from there, Donald Thompson goes up and we see the coroner. Now, we don't actually see the coroner in the final cut of the film, but here's a Polaroid of the coroner. And here is a production still of the coroner showing Donald one of Freddy's finger pieces from the glove, the index finger piece to be exact. So that was deleted. This was deleted. I think then it's just still giving away too much that the parents are finally putting things together, where Wes wants the parents to be completely blasé till the very end. And I also think then it snowballs into when Nancy and Donald run in on Marge being set on fire by Freddy. And then I think the reactionary thing would have to be a lot more different with Donald, because then he'd be like, Kruger! But then also with that particular sequence, you think Donald running in, he'd see the red and green sweater and immediately think, holy fuck, okay. Where even afterwards when they pull the blanket back, Freddy's gone, Marge is there. His reaction is very subdued. And that could be on purpose. But I think with this sequence here, it just gives away too much where the parents are too cluey in putting things together. Where Wes wants the teenagers to be the smart ones. in this narrative. Now, interesting thing is, with the coroner showing Donald the index finger, they actually kept the index finger off the hero glove for this particular sequence of Nancy confronting Freddy when he comes back out of the bed. It's even in the final cut of the film. You can see the index blade is gone. It's just the raw leather glove there. But this is some alternate dialogue between Nancy and Freddy, and this is Robert's unmodulated Freddy voice. It's kind of goofy, but hey, that's how they did it.
And now you die.
It's too late.
Also, sorry to pause, but yeah, you can see 1, 2, 3 blades, and that is the raw leather part of the index leather glove.
I know your secret now. This is just a dream. You're not alive. This whole thing is just a dream. So fuck off. I want my mother and friends again.
You what?
You what? So I think it's really immature of the whole just fuck off thing. I love her turning around and just saying, you're shit. I think that just worked a lot better. It's interesting to see that nonetheless, and it's interesting to hear Robert's like raw voice and also the lack of that index finger piece / blade. And you can see it in this publicity still here. 3 blades and no index finger piece. And the final one is the ending. Now, there were 3 separate endings filmed, but I want to focus on the one of Freddy driving the car. Like, for the final cut of the film, we have an amalgamation of, I'm pretty sure, all 3 stands seeing Freddy actually driving the car. There you go. Just a reactionary shot, driving off. And no Marge death. It's a hard one because the ending, you can tell the ending was a mad last-ditch effort to try and figure something out between Wes and Bob Shaye to possibly have a sequel. Bob Shaye wanted that hook, and Wes unfortunately had to sign his creative rights over to have this film made, and it all went into the hands of Bob Shaye. So he ultimately made the calls. He was, the one writing the checks. He was the boss. He was the head honcho. So I think with the ending of Freddy driving, that first shot of Nancy's reaction and you see Robert behind her start smiling, that's great. Could have had that, and then the car driving off, and then we pan to the jump rope girls, and then Marge's death as well. Like, as hokey as it is, it's still a fun death nonetheless. And there you go, guys. Those were most of the deleted scenes / alternate takes, B-roll shots and stuff like that from the first Nightmare on Elm Street. There definitely are some pieces in there that I think could have stayed in the film, the final cut of the film. I definitely think certain elements here and there, but ultimately a lot of the death stuff, bits of dialogue was super unnecessary, but other things that could have changed the whole effect of the film, the pacing of the film, but also you'd have to change certain performances, acting performances from some of the cast, most notably like John Sachs and Ronnie Blakely, because it does indeed snowball into how this would affect the final outcome of the film, where if you plant the seed with one of these deleted scenes, it then would have to change the whole trajectory of the rest of the film. With that being said, let me know down below if there are any of these pieces, any of these snippets that would have worked for you that didn't work for me, but also other films where there are certain deleted scenes that should not have been deleted and left in the final cut of the film. Love you guts, and I'll catch you in the next one.